Folks, good evening. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, I want to debate the first in the city of Yonkers. Who do you think won this? Who did the better job? What do you folks have to say? Join me. I want to hear from you guys. Did Anthony Moranti get smoked, as someone said in the text message to me about 10 minutes ago? Or did Anthony Moranti do a good job? How did Mayor do? Let's talk about it. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. I had to leave, actually, so I left it running and I had to go do some stuff, and I was watching it on my phone. I don't know if Anthony Moranti got smoked. I'm going to be honest with that person. I don't know if he got smoked. I think Anthony Moranti did a good job. I don't know, maybe I'm just an aggressive guy, but I feel like, he should have been a little bit stronger. They spoke about everything from term limits to the developments, to the building department even, and a few other things that they spoke about. But I want to play some stuff and then go over it. Affordable housing also was something that they spoke about.
Language interpretation and live closed captioning. To see the closed cap October 28th and voter service to our members. Impressions of any candidate.
I promise I won't.
The forum
from the candidates who are participating in tonight's forum, Yonkers. In alphabetical order, your candidates are Anthony J. Moranti and Mike Spano. So let's begin with opening statements. Our first speaker is Mr. Moranti. You have 1 minute, sir.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank the league and the board and the participants for taking place and participating in this forum. I look forward to discussing the issues. My name is Anthony Moranti. I am the councilman from the 6th District. I've been on the council for 6 years. I am married. I have 2 kids. I am a community leader. I'm a business owner. I'm a CPA. And again, I am also a leader of my community. I look forward to discussing the issues regarding my what I've done so far on the council in terms of helping people. My focus is people. I've been a fighter for the people, and I will continue to be.
So what do you think about Anthony Moranti, folks? He's a fighter for the people, community activist. He's a councilman for the 6th District. He's been on the council for some time. And they're going to talk about term limits here. And he actually voted in 2018 in support of term limits, although he said that was a mistake. And you'll hear that in a second. The woman there doing sign language, I wonder if she's actually a really sign language, right? It's been a bunch of fakes.
My campaign is
let's hear Mike Spano.
Reduce crime. And of course, building, housing. We've built over 12,000 units of housing. 22% of it's affordable, so we're able to make sure that there's housing for the people there we want to come here, the people who are frankly here. Open space, 3 new parks, and of course, what we've done in terms of a cleaner environment. It's all there for us to talk about. I can't wait to talk about what we've done over the last few times I've been here in office.
So what do you think about that, folks? Do you think that Anthony, that the mayor has done a great job? He's talking about parks that we have 3 new parks here in the city of Yonkers. We have done 12,000 new units of living, residentials. How do you think it's really, his 12 years have really gone? A lot of people, at least that reach out to me, have complained about this. A lot of people are complaining about the developments. They're complaining about the traffic. They're complaining about crime. They're complaining about everything. Not many people are actually saying that things are great. Most people are just complaining. I don't want to play too much of it. If you want to see it, you can go on. I have the entire thing. I streamed it, so you can watch it from beginning to end. Let's talk about term limits. They mentioned term limits. Spano saying that he's never been in favor of term limits. But is that true? According to people I've spoke with, Mayor Spano was in favor of term limits before becoming mayor, according to people who are insiders who follow politics for a long time. Mayor Spano and the Spanos actually prevented Phil McCone, who wanted to run for a third term. And I believe also Spencer was interested in running for a third term and changing the legislation, but they put it to the people, right? They wanted the people to decide. And they say that Spano back then was a big supporter of term limits. And that's because he didn't want to see Spencer or McCone have another term. He wanted to become mayor. And now once he became mayor, he no longer was in favor of term limits. That's what sources are saying. And even Anthony Moranti states that. He says, well, 12 years ago, you were in favor of term limits, right? He says that. What do you think about term limits? And like I said, look, the whole term limit thing came about just real simple. The city council president, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, who came out of nowhere, was a political unknown. They put her against Mike Cater in the Democratic primaries in 2021. They knew that Mike Cater wanted to be mayor. He had aspirations. He had a Jordanian community that was going to support him. They have money. They're a large community. He had John Cater, his brother's Impact political organization there as well, supporting. And so they knew that they needed to get Mike Cater out, and they did that. He was investigated for quid pro quo over some rent stuff at his office. That kept him out of the race. And and that kind of bogged him down, right? And they used Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, a woman, a Black woman, right, to go up against Mike Cater, playing, the political, the race card, right, playing identity politics, right, by putting a Black woman. And so people got all hyped up about the first Black city council president. Even people that were once supporting Mike Cater all of a sudden did an about face and were now supporting Lakeisha. And she won. She got a lot of votes, but she also had the support of the machine. And that was the plan from the beginning, to put Lakeisha in there, who really had no aspirations to be in politics. She still does not want to be in politics, but she knows that this is an opportunity to better herself. And sources have told me that one of the things that she was promised was that she would become judge ultimately, which she said herself was a dream of hers, and that her husband would also be made a Yonkers police officer, which I hear he's actually currently taking the agility test, or is geared up to be taking the agility test here shortly for the YPD. And he will become a cop, right? He's going to become a cop, and eventually I believe she will become a judge. And for that, she introduced the legislation to extend the terms all by herself, unlike in 2018 when it was Mike Breen and Michael Sabatino who introduced that. And Sabatino was given a job with the city. And so, term limits is a issue that most people have here with with Mayor Mike Spano. Even those who supported Spanos before have said enough is enough. They don't like the fact that the term limits were extended. They basically used the city council to do it, bypassing the people, right? Not allowing the people to vote. Spano says, well, if you want another mayor, you can just vote for, I guess, Anthony Moranti instead of me. You have an option. But is that a real option, right? And we talk about this. I talk about this in politics all the time. You really get presented two individuals to choose from. So is that truly a real option? Are people really given the freedom to elect whoever it is that they want? Or are they given the freedom to elect from the two individuals that are placed before them, right? So, Moranti had a good point. He says, if you're in power for 12 years, you're going to gain a lot of supporters. You're going to gain a lot of money, a lot of political connections, and it's going to become much more difficult. You're going to get a lot of power. The mayor here in the city of Yonkers is a strong mayor. He controls everything, all the departments, including the Yonkers Public Schools. So the hiring and the firing, the budgeting. So he has a lot of power. And many people, they don't want to go against the Spano, right? They don't want to vote against Spano. They prefer to support Spano. They benefit that way. And so Moranti made that point, and a lot of people also have made that point. When you have someone who has that much power after 12 years, it's difficult to unseat them. And it doesn't give other people opportunities to enter the race. Most people who wanted to enter, once they knew Spano was running again, just did not even go for it, right? So that's what they spoke about when it comes to term limits. Affordable housing. They asked Anthony Moranti about that. He said, what percentage do you feel is a good percentage for a new affordable housing ordinance. He said, well, now it's a moving target. And what he meant by that is that now as the rents are going up even more, at one point, maybe 20% would have been good enough. But as more developments of luxury developments have come into the city of Yonkers, that has caused the rents all over the city to go up, making it even more difficult for people to afford, to live here in Yonkers. And so maybe we need a higher now affordable housing, although depending on who you ask, we needed 30% from, back then, back in 2021, when a new ordinance was first introduced, which was not passed, right? The 20%. So he says that, we definitely need a higher number. It's a moving target. Yonkers is becoming a lot more expensive to live in. A lot more people are leaving the city of Yonkers, and more people from outside of Yonkers are coming to move here, although they're not happy once they get here, right? So he says he believes that there needs to be a mix between co-ops and rentals. And the reason for that is because when you have people who own the properties, they are more likely to take care of the area. They're more likely to stay there longer, as opposed to making it all rentals, where he says now that Yonkers has become a transient city. And it is. Most people are in and out. They move in, they move out. They move from one development to the next, depending on what kind of move-in deals they're giving, right? So Spano says we have 10%, and that's a good percentage. He says that that percentage also gets helped out by the IDA. Not sure how that works. All right. And also from nonprofits like West Hab. But I don't know if they're adding more. West Hab is really adding more. The IDA is really adding more. A lot of the recent developments they did were already there. They just knocked them down and rebuilt them. And at times they rebuilt less apartments than they initially had. So there's actually been a reduction of affordable housing here in the city of Yonkers. Spano says that we have 40% of Westchester County's affordable housing right here in Yonkers, but we're probably the city with the most need in Westchester County, right? He did compare us to Rochester, but that's not in Westchester County. Spano says Yonkers is still cheap. Yonkers is still cheap. Do you feel that Yonkers is still cheap? I think most people would disagree with the mayor. The other day, I showed housing prices, the cost of homes here in the city now. Homes going for $1 million plus. Even homes in southwest side of Yonkers, single family homes going for over $1 million, when the average income for someone here in the city of Yonkers is $35,000. That's not affordable anymore. Developments along the water, Mike Spano says is great. They converted a lot of abandoned and contaminated warehouses along the water into residentials, mostly luxury residentials. Some of them do have affordable, but very minimum amount of affordable housing. We're basically becoming the city. We're becoming New York City. We are officially the sixth borough. The way they're developing us is like New York City. He said himself, Mayor Spano says, we have the deep pocket developers, the deep pocket New York City developers, right? And so they're bringing in that New York City mentality here to the city of Yonkers. And so, yeah, in the city, you have, units that are affordable, even though they may be located in a very affluent and wealthy building, like, for example, the apartment that Vidak Gashi bought using an affordable housing program. That apartment is supposed to be set aside for someone making below $80,000 a year, yet and still, Vidak Gashi, the chairman of the Westchester Board of Legislators, managed to buy the home using an affordable housing program, similar, exactly the same to Chris Johnson. The difference is that he's making a lot more money than Chris Johnson. That apartment that he has there near Central Park, I believe, goes for about $8,000 a month. But technically it's not. It's supposed to be held or set aside for someone who qualifies for affordable housing, which Vidak Gashi does not. He's simply, an investor. He's a millionaire investor, in fact. He owns multiple properties, some of them worth over $1 million, right? And so that's going to happen here in the city of Yonkers. That's what they're going to do. They're going to build all these luxury developments. They're going to put a few affordable units in them, and now they're going to hype them up. But over time, those affordable units are going to go to people with money, and they're going to rent them out, right? Or they're going to live in them, all right, and stay down by the waterfront, and they're going to have gotten a cheap deal, right? They're going to scam them, just like that Gashi has done. So, I think we're becoming the sixth borough. We are Manhattan. You got the New York City cabs up in here all over the place. You can tell because they don't know where they're going. They're double and triple parking. There's a lot more crowds. Music blasting out of all these cars now. It's crazy. Music blasting all over the neighborhoods. We actually are New York City. Like that, you can't tell me that we're not New York City anymore. The feel here in Yonkers has completely changed, and that is the result of these developments that are coming in here. They're bringing in people from the city while pushing residents out. That's a fact. The residents of Yonkers just can't afford them. Only people that can afford them is New York City people who were paying high rents to begin with, right? And so Moranti says he's happy to see the developments, but he says they're not affordable. And he believes that over time, they're going to just deteriorate. And we've seen that happen. We've seen, developments built for affordable townhomes and stuff like that throughout the city of Yonkers. Over time, they just deteriorate. They get all messed up, right? And he believes that's going to happen here as well. Many people are saying that the developments are not even full. The ones that are built already are half empty. And so what are they waiting for, right? The movie studio people, folks. They're waiting for the 22 movie studios that they also spoke about in this debate. Who wants to see 22 movie studios? One of the things that Moranti said was that the movie studios are not bringing the jobs that were promised. Mayor Spano was talking about the movie studios, how we're going to have 22. It's going to be great. But they're not bringing the jobs that were promised. Where are the jobs? Mayor Spano did have a rebuttal for that, but I don't know if it explained exactly the question that Moranti had. Where are the jobs? He said what I said. The only person from Yonkers that got a job is the one security guard. That's what actually Anthony Moranti said it. Like I told you guys, that's what I've been saying. So where are the jobs from the studio? Yeah, we're going to have 22 movie studio jobs, but like Anthony Moranti said, those are hard union jobs to get. And a lot of the people that are working at the studios currently, I think they're on strike now, or who were working, are from out of state. They're not Yonkers residents. So where are the jobs that were promised? Folks, I don't see how anyone could be happy with the changes that have happened here in the city of Yonkers. The building department, I think that Moranti should have went harder on the building department. Moranti, the building department is a mess. New York City has a system that's excellent. It's called DOB now. You can do everything online. And the mayor also mentioned something about self-certified. That's when you hire your own architect and engineer. They can self-certify. That way you don't have to wait for the city to come and do it. That saves you a time in the process. And I always wondered this when dealing with the building department. Why don't they have an online system? Why do you have to go there, set up an appointment? You have to show up, and then you have to wait outside till they call your name. That's stupid. It's the worst system ever. Knowing that we have all these developments going up, they should have been ready with the digital system. Why hasn't Yonkers converted to an online system already? And why haven't we already been able to self-certify? The mayor says we can't. It's a New York state law. But you just had the governor. You just had Senator Cousins. You had Nader Sage, who's always down here. All Albany people. Speak to them. They can come down here to dig shovels in the ground, but they can't come down here to help us out with the building department. They can't come down here to help us out with the schools. We had them down here. We had Kathy Hochul. We had Senator Cousins, the Senate Majority Leader. We had Assemblyman Nader Sage. We had county legislator or executive, what's his name? George Latimer. We had the county executive to be, Ken Jenkins, all down here. Should have took a tour of the schools. The mayor again says that we are not getting our monies that's due, that's owed to the city of Yonkers. They keep shortchanging us up in Albany, but you had the whole Albany here. The most important people in Albany were here in Yonkers yesterday, but were they going to take a tour of the schools? Were they being taught, asked for the money that's owed? Were they saying, hey, this is what's important here? We need to build new schools. They're over 100 years old. Kathy, I need you to take a look at this. It's crazy here. Can you give us the money that we're owed? No, they were down here for developers. That's it. They could come down here for developers and to hang out in people's backyards, but they can't come down here to give more money for the schools, to take a tour of the schools. Many kids who are supposed to be in UPK are on a waiting list because there's no money. Kathy was here. If I were mayor, Kathy would be here. Hey, Kathy, guess what? We're going to go to the schools because you guys owe us money up there in Albany. And now that I have you, I have Senator Cousins, the Senate Majority Leader. I have Assemblyman Nader Sage here and County Executive George Latimer. Let's go. Let's take a tour. Look at what we need. This is why we need more money. This is why it's important that you stop shortchanging us up there. I would think that by now they have that relationship. It seems like they do, but it's only for the developers, for the movie studios, which is an Albany plan. And that's why Albany will never do anything to investigate anyone in Yonkers, because they need those folks who are in Yonkers currently to continue and finish their plan. When they spoke about the master plan in this debate, Anthony Moranti, the master plan is the movie studios, the movie industry. Yonkers is going to be an entertainment area. You have the movie studios, you're going to have the casino, create more gambling addiction. Why not? Make people lose their money because they're desperate for hope. And you're going to have the movie studio people. These are not going to be people from Yonkers. The movie studio people are going to be the ones buying the $1 million homes now. They're going to be living in the luxury rentals on the waterfront, while people from outside of Yonkers and some from Yonkers will be coming in to go to the casinos to gamble, to hope that they could one day buy a house here in Yonkers or live by the waterfront here in Yonkers, right? With the movie studio people and the celebrities, right? That's what's going to happen. That's their plan. They don't care about the schools right now because the people in the schools, they don't believe are going to be here too much longer. Many people are leaving. 77% of them are living at or below the poverty line. They can't afford to live in the Yonkers that's going to be here once this master plan is finished. They're just not. And whatever happened to the community benefits agreement discussion that our city council president, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, was supposed to have with AMS over that development at Chicken Island? Where is the community benefit? Did you speak to them about it? What was the result of that conversation? You see what I'm saying? The city council and the city council president are supposed to represent the people. The mayor, he's going to move ahead with wanting to do what he wants to do, but it's up to our city council to say, hold up, wait a minute. The district I represent, the majority of the people that don't want this, they cannot afford this. This is going to impact them. What about them? But they're not. All they cared about yesterday was McQuestion. Did you see how much money that company has contributed to our elected officials here in the city of Yonkers? To which elected officials? The team. Mayor Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, Tasha Diaz, John Rubo. The team. Oh, and Shanae Williams. You see what I'm saying? Who do they represent? Shanae Williams, Black woman, represents Council or District 1. Tasha Diaz represents Council District 3, two of the poorest districts, mostly Black and Hispanics. Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, who's from Northwest Side, represents all of the districts, I guess, as a city council president. The first Black city council president. What a time to be the first Black city council president, right? As all the Blacks are getting pushed out. That's going to be the legacy. And people are seeing it already. And they say that you have buyer's remorse. I don't know. Do you? Because if you do, speak up now, forever hold your peace. Because the right thing to do would be to speak up. To fix the wrong, right? The wrong that was done to the people of the city of Yonkers. Because ultimately, we got screwed. And you know it. Do they care? I don't know. As long as they become a judge, as long as they become a cop, as long as they get their benefits, as long as they're allowed to make money, as long as they're allowed to open buildings and all that stuff, they don't care. So that's what happened, folks. That's what's going to happen here in the city of Yonkers. You can watch the entire debate if you want. They definitely lied. Ain't no jobs. There's no affordable housing. Nothing is affordable. Everything is going up. So even the units that were put aside to be affordable, The rents are going up. Right? The rents are going up all over, everywhere in City of Yonkers. The rents are going up. So they're no longer affordable. What is affordable now, right? Like Moranti said, it's a moving target now. It's moving up only, right? It's going up, up, and up. So most people cannot afford to live here. And a lot of the longtime employees here, specifically in our schools, the lower level CSC, I don't say lower level, I would say, but you know, the guys, I'm with you guys. I used to, you know, I was in that union that was at the bottom. We got everything last, and you know, we didn't get the best. So I know how you guys feel. I can relate. I used to hate it. I used to be like, why do we even pay this union fee? I don't want to give it, screw it. I don't want to be in the union. I don't care, because the union was always, the leaders anyway, were always in cahoots with the administration in the school I worked at. And it was obvious, right? They were never going to have your back, right? There ain't no real people with morals and integrity really these days in these leadership positions. They got there by not having morals. They got there by not having integrity, by not doing the right thing, right? Many of these individuals, they just want to get theirs. They're scared to say anything. There's very few people that have the guts and the balls to say, you know what, I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to do my job correctly. I'm going to represent my people regardless of what that may result in. You want to fire me, you want to come at me, so be it. But I'm not going to jeopardize, you know, who I am, my integrity, my morals, simply to get ahead so I can buy more material things. Because ultimately, that's all money does, right? Sure, it pays bills, but some of you don't need that big of a house. Do you need 4,000 or 5,000 square feet home? I mean, if you have 1,000 square feet home, that's a lot better than a lot of people these days, right? Do you need 4 cars? Do you need top of the line clothing? Do you need the jewelry that you have, right? We don't. We just need the basics: food, shelter, comfortable shelter, clothing. That's it. But we've become greedy as a society, right? And some people think that that's what's everything. That's what it's all about. And so they're willing to, you know, compromise themselves, and they have compromised their morals, their integrity, right? And they no longer represent the people. And we're not just seeing that here in the city of Yonkers, we're seeing that nationwide. But our fight is here locally. We must all fight locally. That's how we make an impact on a bigger level. So we must be involved. As the woman said, politics is not a, you know, what did she say? You have to be involved. I forgot how she said it. It's not a spectator sport. That's what I believe she said, right? We can't just be spectators, right? Especially spectators who complain. We have to get in the game. We have to get dirty a little bit. And I don't mean being mean, nasty people. I just mean we have to, you know, roll our sleeves up and get in there. And we have to, you know, fight for ours, fight for our city, fight for our rights, you know, fight for our benefits, because they're fighting for the developers' benefits. Who's fighting for our benefit? So we must be the ones to stand up and fight for us, for our communities, for our family. And I'm willing to join all of you. And honestly, I'm like ready to rally. And I'm encouraging people to really be more vocal. And maybe we might have to rally. And if that is something that we end up doing down the line, I would love for you folks to join me, because we have to call it out. We have to make the signs, and we have to go out there and we have to scream to, you know, to we are blue in the face. We have to end corruption. Stop this corruption here in the city of Yonkers. We want fair elections. We want representatives that actually care about the people they have been voted to represent. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. If you want to watch the full debate, check it out on my page. It's on there from beginning to end. I did not edit it. I don't want the FCC on me, which is crazy when the lady started saying all these stipulations to how you can view it and watch it and this, that, and the third. Lady, this is for the people. Everyone should have the free. It should be shared, chopped up, and screwed however it, you know, it needs to be. You know, granted, you should watch the entire thing to make the best, you know, opinion, have the best opinion on it. But it's for the people to watch and be informed. And it should be shared by as many people as possible. You should have said, share this, share this. It should have never been virtual, because the politicians themselves even said it. Many people don't have access to internet. They don't have access to Wi-Fi. So who do you think they're leaving out when they do it this way? A lot of people, especially the elderly people who may not be tech savvy, but go out and vote, right? A lot of the elderly that are upset, they've seen this for far too long and they're tired of it, damn it. And so we must come out and vote for change. We must come out and rally. We must look in the, you know, face the corruption, look it dead in the eye and say, we no longer are going to stand for it. and we are no longer afraid. So do what you think you need to do to us, but it's not going to frighten us. We're not going to back down, right? And you've seen it. I haven't backed down, and they've done all kinds of crazy things to me, but I'm still here. I'm breathing, and I still have the love of my family and the support of those who watch Basement Politics, so I'm good to go. Let's do this, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. You know what would be the most democratic choice? The write-in candidate. We should all write in a name. Hey, if you want to vote for Moranti, write in Moranti, but we should write in the name. That is ultimate freedom of choice. That's our choice. You can put Mickey Mouse if you want, like Brian Harris. So what? So be it. As long as that was your choice. There is the write-in candidate, right? Is Reverend Coleman gonna go after? That's what I heard. I heard Reverend Margaret Coleman was going to try to run as a write-in candidate. But Reverend Coleman, if you do that, I'm really gonna get suspicious. All right, I'm gonna be even more suspicious of you. Why would you do that? It wouldn't make sense. You were on the ballot, right? So, that would suggest that you believe that Republicans would vote for you, that you would get enough Republicans to vote for you because the Democrats are going to really come out for you. So would it be the Republicans that are going to come out for you in the general? I'm just saying, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, I'm just trying to understand it. That's all. Right? But that is a choice that we have, a write-in candidate, folks. We need someone that's going to kick ass and take names, that truly cares about the people, is not worried about being the man, being powerful. Been there, done that. Okay? That's what I used to want until I had it and I realized, what is this? You know? So cool about being the boss and being powerful, right? Helping people, that's more gratifying. Seeing others win, that's more gratifying, right? Being selfless, that's what's gratifying, right? I've done it all. I've done what I wanted to do. It's time to help others. It's time to be selfless. That's what's important, and we need to do that as a people, right, folks? I'm out of here. God bless you. Happy Friday.